Welcome to Bookclub no Kiseki. I am Sam Allman.
I'm David Bernard Hauk.
And I'm sorry.
It's time for your weekly episode of Bookclub no Kiseki.
And the portion of Falcom's Kiseki series we'll be playing today is the rest of Chapter 3 of Trails from Zero. This episode will cover days 4 and 5, but not the intermission. We're stopping at the end of chapter thing. We're hoping the intermission makes more sense for next week, but we'll see. Before we get started on all of that, long time no see. How's the wife and kids? Shit, I should have saved that for two separate ones. Oh well, now they're both
You should have
burned.
saved that until I had a wife and kids.
Yeah, no, it's not funny if you
Which
have a
I
wife
don't
and kids.
have. I do have a cat. She's good.
My wife sometimes tells me I'm a kid. Do I count?
Yes.
Okay. So.
Yeah, so we are not a week in the future from the last time that you heard this. We're damn near a month because Matt had to go fill out paperwork. I stayed away, basically.
So I don't want to get too deep into it.
Yeah.
But I basically found out at the beginning of a week that by the middle of the week I needed to fly to the other side of the country to take care of some legal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Through no fault of my own. That it's not like I had a speeding ticket or anything like that. But families are hard. I'll just say that.
Yeah. It's glorified paperwork. A little more complicated, but not terribly much more complicated.
Yeah, more or less.
So yeah, here we are, exactly 7 days from the last time we recorded, and life is good. I helped my ex-boyfriend move on Sunday, and he was moving from his own apartment to a place with roommates, so he was getting rid of a lot of the common area things, and I got a lot of cool doodads that I saved from the junk pile, including a shadow box for all of my Digivices, which looks awesome, except I don't have enough to fill it, so now my eBay finger is twitching. But I also got a CD that is the Backstreet Boys Millennium, which I feel is the most important thing that I saved from the free pile.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is it really saving something from the free pile if you take something from the free pile? Isn't that just using the free pile as intended?
Well, yeah, but but transferring the free pile from the hallway of his old place to a Goodwill or a St. Vinny's or something like that, I don't know if that actually happened or if it was just a close enough and got thrown away or set by a dumpster to be thrown away on trash day or something. Mildly saved from the free pile, mildly using the free pile. Either way, it's mine now, and it's cool.
Cool.
Yeah, I really like the way that my shadow box came together. I've dropped pictures of it in the Discord. If you want to go and look at a wooden box with black felt and Digimon paraphernalia.
You had me until the Digimon.
Yeah. Just a box of black felt is one of your most favorite things, as we all know.
But I hate Digimon.
I'm more partial to a nice mauve felt, but I'll accept a black felt. That's fine.
What about you two? How is your month?
I talked about my month on the main podcast. I mentioned my cat earlier. I don't think she likes that I'm working in an office again for the first time in a few years. I think she misses me.
Poor kitty.
Or maybe I just want to think that.
Mm-hmm.
I miss her.
I think you're allowed to think that. I think that's fair.
Speaking of cats, so my cat has been stressed as hell since we got her back from Matt, and most of it's because there's a 3-year-old boy in this house, and 3-year-old boys and cats just don't usually get along. And so she was like peeing on everything and having a big crisis of stress. And so when I got my own room, I moved her in with me to have her food and her cat box in my room, so she can have like a sanctuary. And so I've been calling it kitty rehab, and it's working too good. While I was working the other day, my work desk is like right next to her cat box. She just comes and just is using the cat box like right in front of me, like locked eyes with me, just like, oh, we're this close now. Like I'm just going to piss while you're staring at me. And
she would do that to me too, because we had to do the same thing because we had 2 like kittens.
Mm-hmm.
Or like I had her set up in my office, and she would like sub-audible cat sound at me until I'd look at her, and then she'd go.
Yep. She's a freaking nutcase. So I'm glad she's comfortable around me, but she could have stayed skittish with the whole pissing in front of me thing. I would have been fine to not heal that skittishness.
I like cats.
Cats are really cool.
Cats are really cool. I almost acquired a 4th one the other day.
That's
too dangerous for you.
Yeah, but they were kittens. So we've got the one extremely old cat now.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 younger cats.
Mm-hmm.
But baby
cats.
Baby cat.
Baby cats are good cats.
Thankfully, they all got adopted before I got there.
My cat is a former feral cat, and so I never knew her when she was a baby, and I don't know how cute of a kitten she was. I assume very, but I will never see her as a kitten.
Should use that TikTok AI filter that shows you your younger self, based like de-ages your face, and put that on your cat so you can see.
I don't think I'll do that.
Yeah, don't actually do that. But yeah. Anything else you want people to know about your life before we dive in?
No.
Cool. So let's listen to more than 30 seconds because Falcom is nice to us. Falcom music, and then we'll get started talking about the plot.
To be fair, Square Enix isn't mean to us. We just fear them.
We fear them a lot.
I fear them more even with that merger, what they doing and such.
Yeah.
Oh, the restructuring thing with Luminous.
Yeah.
Is that what they're called?
Yes, Luminous. Well, not anymore.
Luminescent.
Any hoozle. So, when we last left our heroes, they were working during the big Crossbell anniversary party festival thing. And they did something on day 3, and I don't remember what it was.
They had a whole big thing with Ren.
That was on day 3?
Yeah, and then she gives them the invitations.
That's day 4. That's what we're about to talk about.
Oh my god, this is the problem when it takes a month. Because, like,
yeah.
Okay. Well,
the
spoilers.
Spoilers. Ren's in this episode. Let's see. Day 3 was... it was a big thing with Ren, but it was the other big thing with Ren. It was the hacker battle with Ren.
What?
Remember the hacker battle? We went down and...
That was during the festival?
Yeah, that was the very last thing that happened.
I don't believe you.
It is right here in the wiki, and wikis are never wrong.
Wow.
Yeah, that was the very last thing that we did. So yeah, it's been exactly 7 days since we last recorded. So day 4 starts, and we get to work until noon, quote unquote, to do side quests. But the important thing that happens is we get a urgent request to find a missing boy. The request comes from Hayworth. I'm forgetting it. Harold Hayworth, the purple-headed guy that we've seen around. He gave us a ride in his car a couple chapters ago. So Harold and Sophia, his wife, tell the Triple S that they haven't been able to find Colin, that he ran away from him during the parade. They were like watching, and they turned and like to ask him if he liked it, and he was gone. So we split up to search for him, and we have to talk to every NPC in every screen of the town. Eventually we run into Ren, and she offers to help us search. She's like, "Oh, I'm actually a subject matter expert on being a kid that likes to chase shiny things, so I can help you out." And we're like, "Perfect, awesome." So we eventually do locate Colin, who had wandered out of the city into a truck to ride way down the road to get out of the truck to chase butterflies, only to be surrounded by monsters. But when we show up, the monsters are kind of like far away from us, and we're like, crap, like he could get hurt before we get there. And Ren like hulks out and is like, fuck nah, and she jumps over there super fast, takes out the one that's closest to him, so that gives us time to get over there and have our little boss fight with the monsters. After the fight, Ren is like holding Colin really tight and is like, you're safe. Everything is fine. And he starts crying, and she's like, shit, I shouldn't have gotten involved. I just wanted to look. I didn't mean to touch things. I'm sorry. I'm getting out of here. And so we head back to Triple S headquarters, and we put Colin in one of the beds to rest, and we're like, hey, Ren, his parents are on the way. They probably want to thank you. And she's like, no, I can't talk to them. And Lloyd's like, why? And she's like, it's complicated. But and he's like, okay, well, they're downstairs, so you hide in the closet. That's totally fine. We'll just deal with everything. So the Hayworths come in, and they express their gratitude, and Colin wakes up and is like, where's the girl with the purple hair that's saved me? And Harold, who also has purple hair, is like, what do you mean, a girl with purple hair? And the wife is like, oh, it might be like a guardian angel, our daughter come back to take care of our son or something. And we're like, what the heck is going on? So we learn that back in the day, Harold found himself in a lot of debt, and he had to entrust Ren with a family friend while he went and worked off his debt. So he left her with a family friend, went and did a lot of work, came back, and the place was burnt to the ground, and the police never even really reported it or did anything thing about it. So he had no idea, and he felt like he had fucked up and basically killed his daughter. So they were super depressed, even contemplating joint suicide, they say, but then they learned that they were pregnant with Colin, their other kid. So they this whole time have been trudging through, but just been depressed that they lost their daughter. I accidentally said the thing that's not a big surprise, that it was Ren is obviously their daughter.
Look, you shouldn't be listening to this if you haven't played it anyway.
Yeah, this is definitely not one to like do instead of
this
experiencing
isn't Septericor. This isn't Anachronox.
Yeah, this is definitely one where we're giving a summary, like we're all talking amongst friends. Like this is all a thing that we have recently played, because the format of the podcast where we chop out all of the chuffa so that we can just do a plot summary. This game is 98% chuffa. Like this so far, what I've summed up is like an hour or two of gameplay of talking to NPCs. That's super well written and fun and enjoyable. So if you made it to this episode of the fourth game without realizing that you should be playing along, you should stop and go and play along with us. Go get caught up. We'll wait for you.
Unless you have something that's preventing you from actually playing games.
That's true. In which case, the Kiseki wiki has a very detailed plot summary, because most of these games didn't come over for the longest time, and they had to have a detailed plot summary so people could understand Trails of Cold Steel. So at least be reading in the wiki along with us. So the Harold and Sophia say that their late daughter must have come down from heaven to protect Colin, and they say if we ever see her again, to contact them so they could formally meet her and thank her. So they leave, and then they tell Ren to come out of the closet, and she's about to cry, and is obviously their late daughter. And so Lloyd's like, they just left. You can catch them. And Ren's like, no, I just needed to confront that part of my past, but I don't want to meet them. And I'm past that, but they didn't abandon me the way that I thought. So I'm glad that I have my closure now. And so she's like, I'll thank you for everything. I'll give you your reward tomorrow morning. I'm outie. And so she leaves out at the top door right as the front door opens, and there's Estelle and Joshua, who, as you remember from the manga, and I think they said it earlier in this game too, I don't fucking know, they're the main reason they're here in Crossbell at all is to try and find Ren and adopt her. So Estelle and Joshua tell the team about Ren's traumatic past, and the team is like, well, shit, that's kind of like fucked up what happened. And they're like, yeah, absolutely. And so they hang out the rest of the night, and they trade stories and become good friends, and it's wholesome. So then day 5, we get a unexpected gift in the mail, which is an invitation for 2 to attend to the Schwartz auction, courtesy of Ren. Everyone is like, how the fuck did this little girl get these prestigious invitations? But no time to ask questions. We have a mafia to go spy on.
This whole time, I just want to tell Lloyd and company Don't ask questions about this whole thing.
It goes.
You're on
it
the
goes real deep.
fringes of the whole thing with Rin and Estelle and Joshua. You want to stay there.
It's a lot. But no, they have to become JRPG heroes themselves. They can't just hear about it from other people.
I mean, there's also 60 people between the two countries, so like, word gets around.
Aren't you excited for the power of the PlayStation 3 console so there can be 62 people in the whole continent?
Man. 62 people? That's almost a crowd. Don't rustle me up like that, Sam.
So the auction is being held at this resort off the coast called Mishalam. And that's where Representative Hartman, who's the Speaker of the House for the Diet, that's where he lives. So we hop on the ferry to head over, and we encounter Lecter from Chloe's Star Door. Glad we covered all of the doors last game so we would understand who the fuck this guy is. But
there was a great classic Trails moment of, oh fuck, I know I'm supposed to know who this guy is, and then sitting there on the text box for a good 5 minutes while you try and think of who it is, and then you remember and you're like, oh shit.
And then you go to the wiki and you try and like, okay, I'm only going to scroll. I'm only going to scroll and see if it says a game that I've already played, and scroll just to that section and read about the previous stuff and not any of the new stuff. However, Lecter's still has spoilers for what he was doing off screen in between. So I know some things about Lecter that I will learn in Cold Steel.
Luckily, I just remembered who he was after a while.
Good. So yeah, he is dressed as a total tourist. He's dressed like Red and Gary in the post game for Sun and Moon, when you go and meet them and they're on vacation in Pokemon Sun and Moon.
On their honeymoon.
Yes, on their honeymoon. He's dressed exactly that vibe. So he Olivier's all over the place a little, and he admits that he's an Erebonian spy, but but then says, "I'm just kidding. I just read a spy novel," and basically just says so many things that none of them could possibly be true, so that the fact that the truth being in there is ignored. He's good at his job. Kilika is there, who is also really good at her job, but without being ridiculous. She has all of these very good excuses on why a business entrepreneur would be wanting to go there. Jimmy mentioned in the Discord I couldn't remember last episode what she said she was doing, but I knew it wasn't an entertainment guru, and she started the Californian FBI is what she was headhunted for. So yeah, she is federally bureauing her investigation all right now.
She's even more of a cop than we are.
She's a fed. There's a slight difference. So we get to the resort, and Lloyd hears a voice that like takes over the whole screen, makes the screen go black with giant letters. It just says "Find me," and nobody else hears it. We go to the hotel to plan our next move, but all of the rooms are booked, and we're like, we just need a private place to talk. And then there, of course, is Wazy, the head of the blue team in the gang war.
What are they called? The Testaments?
Testaments. That's correct.
And silly.
Yeah. Turns out being a gang leader is his night job. His day job is being a man whore. And like literally. And so he's there as an escort for some rich lady. He says that he actually has come to this as an escort a bunch of times. So we learned that our invitation will get us in, but a lot of people know who we are because we're cops, and Lloyd is wearing a jacket that says CCPD on the back. So it's kind of obvious that we're not who we say we are, so we need to go get disguises. So we go to the boutique, and you can pick who's coming with you. I picked Ellie. Did anyone not pick Ellie?
I mean, it just seems so obvious to pick Ellie because, like, she looks like she could be your date and also is a fancy person, so she would be least likely to fuck up at a fancy place.
Yeah, the other two party members definitely felt like the taking Barrett on the date option, where it's there for silliness or mechanical things and not... I don't know if that choice gives you more detective points when you turn it in or not, but
I believe the only difference is you get more affection points with the person you take.
Yeah.
There are several spots in the game where you choose one of the three people to do something with you, and you get a bunch of affection points with them. What affection points do, I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? There's probably flavors.
But
of
I know
ending.
you want them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look something up before I say something.
Cool. But Ellie looks fantastic in her dress. Then it cuts in, gives her a big talking head, and you can see it, and it's awesome. Lloyd looks like he's wearing a suit that's 4 sizes too big for him. He looks ridiculous.
Like he's going to the prom.
It is ridiculous how stupid he looks. Turns out he's wearing his cop clothes underneath it, as we find out later, because he is a cop first and foremost. But yeah, it looks ridiculous.
But he gets a pair of glasses too.
Yeah, the glasses look cool. And
yeah, the glasses actually look good.
Yeah, the suit looks really bad. The glasses look fantastic. So we head over to the mansion, and basically right as we get inside, Lloyd hears the voice in his head a second time saying, "Please find me." The guests have a free run of the place, but there's 2 rooms you can't get to. One is Hartman's personal quarters, and the other is the room where they're holding all the auction items. And so Lloyd and Ellie walk around, and they run into Imelda, the super sketchy accessory shop owner. She's there and promises not to squeal who we are. We also eventually run into Maria Bell, Ellie's childhood friend that works at the IBC. She also says that she's not going to ruin our cover story, and says that she's there to bid on the most valuable item of the night, which is a new doll made by the famous Rosenberg studio, which, as you remember, is where Rin was taken Pater Mater to get repaired. That's the whole reason she's in Crossbell right now. We also see that didn't happen to me. The notes say they run into Garcia, who isn't fooled by their disguises, but they run into...
What do you mean that didn't happen to you? That's the scene where you meet Maria.
Yeah, but I didn't read it as he isn't fooled by their disguises, or him. I heard him be like, I
guess he's like, you seem awfully familiar. And then Maribel's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
And then the scene ends.
Yeah, he doesn't then like follow you, and then later in the boss fight, he was like, "Oh, I didn't think it was going to be the cops. I thought it was going to be Hey You that showed up." So, different read on the scene, but yes, you do run into Garcia, who's there. So he lets slip that Hayu's hired assassin is supposed to be there, and sure enough, right when the auction is about to start, Wazy shows up and is like, "Hey, all of the guard dogs outside have been drugged and knocked asleep, so something is going down. You should probably investigate." And he comes with us, joins the party, in fact, and he's good. So we make it up to the room where all of the auction items are being stored, and sure enough, Yin, which as you remember is our friend Rixia, that's her real name from the play, but we don't know that yet. We the players know that. We the cops don't. So Yin shows up, and we're like, "Stop!" And she's like, "No, y'all should go check and see what's being auctioned." And so Lloyd's like, we are trying to find evidence of criminal activity, so let's go check that out. So you go into the auction room, and there's a big obvious chest that none of your party members go to look at. They're all looking at stupid props on the side, and so you go to look at the giant chest, and you use your lockpick to open it, and there's a girl inside.
Child. There is a child.
There's like a 12-year-old child inside.
Human child.
She wakes up. Lloyd at first thinks that it's the doll. I was like, wow, this is a really realistic one. But then she wakes up and starts talking, and she's like, "My name is Kia. I don't remember what happened to me. Why am I in this box?" And Lloyd's like, "Oh, cool. This is a kidnapping. We're going to
fight kidnapping with kidnapping."
Yeah, we're going to rescue you. And so we get bespoke sprites of Lloyd carrying Kia, which is probably not a Dragon Quest reference, but I'm going to say that it is.
It's probably a reference to the fact that he's carrying Kia in this scene.
Yeah, which is a Dragon Quest reference.
I have to wonder if Lloyd, when Kia introduces herself, if Lloyd can tell that she is pronouncing the A capitalized.
Yeah. Probably. He probably can smell it. Japanese isn't a tonal language, but the way that she says it, it sounds capitalized. So we make our way out. There's a cute scene where we're trying to find a way out. We stumble into a room where Lecter is, and he distracts the guards so that they look away from us, which gives us a chance to escape. After we run and we're fighting our way out of the mansion, we get our party back together, but then we're surrounded. But then while we're like, fuck, we can't get out. There's too many of them. But then a giant chakram shuriken from off screen comes by and like takes out a bunch of the dudes so we can run away. We try to make it to the ferry, but because we were held up by those dudes, we miss it. So we're like, shit, what do we do? And we're like at the end of the dock, and Garcia shows up and is like, I'm here for a boss battle, and I'm going to take out Randolfo Orlando, pointing at Randy. And turns out the shit that happened on day 2 of the festival during the foot race, where he went Super Saiyan, is because he's a really kick-ass Jaeger. He's the quote son of the war god and the quote Red Reaper. He's a member of the Red Constellation Jaeger Corps, which is apparently super infamous. Before he worked for the Mafia, Garcia was a member of an equally powerful corps, Zephyr, which we've heard of Zephyr Corps before. I don't remember from where. Jimmy, get in the comments. Tell us where we've heard of Zephyr. It's one of the Jaeger Corps we've fought before, I'm sure. But after our boss battle, but before the Randy versus Garcia boss battle, Sergey and Zeit arrive on a speedboat and help us make a retreat. As we get away, the Ravash tries to salvage the situation and continue the auction, but all of the people are like, your men like shot at us to try and shoot the intruders. This is not fucking cool. And they leave. We see Lecter and Kilika together. And they reveal who they are to themselves, and they sit down to exchange state secrets and things like that. And then we save at the end of the chapter. Let's listen to some more music and then talk about our memorable moments.
When these Trails games have a real hard boss battle in them.
Yeah, Garcia was real hard. I was woefully underprepared for him. I thought there would be another round, another set of dudes. So I ended the last battle basically dead, but I was planning on healing up and before I went to the next one. But then it was boss battle time, and starting a boss battle in a JRPG spiral is a very bad idea. I don't recommend it. So I had to I think I did ended up with 3 or 4 retries on a lower difficulty, and it was still hard because I was starting in a JRPG spiral. Mm-hmm. But it was good.
I did beat it my first try, but I have done every single side quest in this game. So I am strong.
Yeah.
But it was still hard.
Yeah. Speaking of side quests, the cool, interesting one that you're supposed to do on day 4. I don't know if there was a cool, interesting one on day 5. I decided to not do any of them. But the one on day 4 is some tourists have been missing, and so you have to go and find them, and they're in a section of the map called the Ancient Battleground or something like that. But it's this huge ruin right outside of Crossbell that hasn't come up before, and so you have a little dungeon to go through to find them, and that has a really hard boss fight in it that I was almost winning, and I was low on supplies. I was like, okay, I'll just die and try again on a lower difficulty. I'll count this one as a loss, but if you die, the bracers show up and just steal your thunder, and it made me feel like a weakling, and it was kind of cool.
On day 5, I'm looking at a list of side quests to refresh my memory. On day 5, there is a side quest where there is a giant statue in the city hall, and you get a request from City Hall saying that there's a problem. So you go there. The statue is missing. Phantom Thief B stole it. You have to go around and solve a bunch of riddles, by which I mean you look up the answers to the riddles because these riddles are fucking impossible. And you end up going to the McDowell Manor, and the statue is just in a room there. It's bigger than the door, and it's just in there somehow. And
don't question Beau Blanc's methods.
Yes, but some shipping company people pack it up and take it back to the city hall. It's silly and good.
Yeah, I love Beau Blanc. He's my favorite. He's my favorite Olivier of the 4 different Oliviers we've met in this series so far.
I hate him so much. There's also a side quest in Mishalem where or Mishalem stars. There's also a side quest there where you talk to a guy and he's like, "Fuck, I lost my engagement ring that I was gonna use to propose." And you go around, you find 3 different rings laying on the ground. You bring them all to him, and he's like, "No, these are not my rings."
That's a epidemic of losing engagement rings at this place.
You find a platinum ring, you find a gold ring, you find a pearl ring. None of them are right.
I'm just going to insert here that one was my memom. Like, such a classic, like, very, very Kiseki. In that, like, a classic JRPG quest. Okay, we'll go do that.
Yeah,
with just enough of a spin that it makes it fantastic.
Since it was your mem, do you want to say how this concludes?
I don't actually remember how it concludes because that was a month ago.
So it concludes where
a week ago.
Yes, a week ago. It concludes where, I forget how exactly, but the dude remembers that he was at this bench in the resort residential area, and that's where he lost it, and it's like, you couldn't have told us that before. So you go there, and you see a sparkle in the water, and you cast your fishing line into the water, and you catch a fish who coughs up the correct ring. Which that whole scenario strikes me as rather unlikely.
Absolutely.
Maybe I didn't finish that one.
That's amazing.
You were just like, I found 3 rings.
I was I'm not gonna lie to you, I was rushing.
That's fine.
Yeah. Speaking of mem moms, I have been playing with high speed mode perpetually on, with high speed mode up at 6 times, even for field movement.
I love high speed mode in this game.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many belabored animations in this game.
I
high speed mode makes it tolerable.
I missed it really bad on the Vita because the Vita's high speed mode also skips cutscenes, which is not good.
Oh, bad.
I'm here for the cutscenes, so I would be constantly like seeing a belabored animation and be like, okay, I'm gonna
watching an airship dock.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold it down and hopefully not miss anything too important once I see a text box and let it go, and maybe I'll only miss 2 or 3 text boxes. But so because I'm playing on super high speed mode, it sometimes breaks things, like in Sky the Third, but it would break the walking speed, and so there's a lot of walk and talks in just the library area, and so my guys would just get to the end, they would be in the library standing like on top of each other to finish the cutscene. This time at the end with the speedboat, Zeit is supposed to jump on the boat with you, but in high speed mode, the boat drives away, so Zeit's sprite is just standing in the water as the rest of the scene plays out, and it was great.
Nice.
I love when games break. Making video games is really, really hard, and
yes, it is.
I love seeing all the different ways that things can go horribly wrong.
It can be really fun to see the seams.
Mm-hmm. Another mom on my list was when we are first going to the resort, and we're like, maybe we should have changed out of our cop uniforms before trying to infiltrate. Tio is like, oh, I should have worn my Mishi pajamas. Mishi is the mascot of Michelin and is she's been obsessed with it this whole game. We just haven't ever talked about it because it's not important. But she's like, I should have worn my Mishi pajamas. And we're like, I think that would have made you stick out more being in pajamas all day. So then,
I mean, if I saw someone in pajamas, I'd just be like, okay, someone out and about in pajamas. That's weird. Mm-hmm. But Tio's normal outfit is she's a robot.
Yeah.
I think that's weirder.
It's true.
That not a common thing. Like, I see people out in pajamas here all the time. I just assumed that was a new thing that was more common. Or is that just a weird Wisconsin thing?
I mean,
Sam, confirm.
Oh, I'm always wearing pajamas. I was talking about in the realm of the game.
Wearing pajamas out and about is it's done. It's something that is done.
It's my God-given right. But so she's like, oh, I'm going to wear my Mishi PJs, and we're like, no, we're going to find some other disguise. So then later we run into Lecter at the party, and he's still in his fucking vacation clothes, and we're like, shouldn't you have for this formal thing? He's like, you're right, I should have worn my Mishi PJs. I love a good callback joke.
Very silly.
Let's see, there was something else that I really enjoyed this week, and I was like, oh, I'll take a screenshot. I'm like, I don't need to take a screenshot, I'll remember. I don't remember.
I have a completely unrelated thing that's related. I think I figured out why Jaeger is the selected word.
Why?
Okay, so there's an evolution to this. I've been listening to a history podcast called The History of the Great War. It's really good if you want to learn how World War I ruined the world.
Yep. I don't know much about it, but that's been my vague understanding.
But a Jaeger in the German-speaking part of the world, which at that time was a fair amount of Europe, was a light infantryman, like skirmisher thing, but whose civilian job. And I'm trying not to lift this straight from the wiki, but I had to look it up because I found it out like mid-podcast. I was like, I should remember this, and then a week happened, and I forgot. But their civilian occupation is usually like hunting or forestry or trapping. So they're like specifically well suited for like doing things in small groups or by themselves. So like the examples they use here are skirmishers, scouts, sharpshooters, and runners. Also sometimes used to refer to elite units, which I'm guessing is where that comes from.
Dope.
It's also just a cool word to say.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Affection points. There's one final scene with a upgraded combo craft that will carry over to both New Game Plus and to Trails from Azure with a save transfer if you unlock it. It looks like if you do all the side quests and choose Ellie a lot, it'll be trivial to get Ellie's, but there's a guide if you want to go and get all three of them in one. It's kind of hard to do it, but
it's probably too late for me now.
Yeah, you can also do combo crafts which will also get a lot, it looks like. But yeah,
that was something I was debating bringing up, just because affection points play a relatively big role in Trails of Cold Steel, and I when I said I was going to look up a thing before I say a thing, it's like, is it the same here? And it kind of is. This is like the proto version from that.
Speaking of proto versions, I am really liking how diegetically these games are building on one another to continue. Like with they released a Orbment version 2 in second chapter versus this one is a special one that's also a cell phone, and this one, and it just, all of these new cool things you have are just building on each other in a really cool way, which makes me glad that these games got translated when they did, because when we started this podcast, Geofront hadn't even finished Azure yet. So we didn't have an English version of that one whatsoever. So our plan, if we had to wait, we were going to do Cold Steel 1 and 2 and then come back, because Cold Steel 3 is when the Crossbell stuff happens. But going backwards would have sucked mechanically, because they just build on each other so well. And I'm sure that Cold Steel will build on these games in a really cool way. And they're good. It's crazy how, like, these games have fantastic story and fantastic characters, but the mechanics of the game are also some of the best JRPG mechanics.
They're of
the
good.
Modern era.
They're so good, which makes it so great when there's a really hard boss battle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a lot of times when you get a game that's really focused on the story, the mechanics take a big step back, like Final Fantasy VII. No one talks about grinding materia in a positive light. No one really cares about that stuff. All they care about in Final Fantasy VII is like cool ass summons and all the story stuff. But here it's like, we could also do this podcast just talking about all the cool boss fights and shit, and not even talking about all of the story. Although the story is fantastic. There's a reason these are like top 10 RPGs of all time and a lot of people's lists who have actually played them.
Everyone who likes JRPG should play these games.
It's true.
The problem is that if you play one, you'll want to play the rest of them. And there's a lot of trails.
Yeah.
Remember when we were going to have a nice few weeks between finishing this game and starting the next game, and we were going to be able to do some fun bonus episodes?
Yeah. Now we get to do those episodes as a palate cleanser before we move into the third dimension.
It's going to be so weird playing 3D Trails.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be like coming home to me. This is the weird stuff.
So this game manages, like, I saw a lot of the PSP-ness of the game. PSP.
No.
The PS-posity of this game. And
I like the first one better.
So in Sky, a lot of the like set dressings would be small little 3D models, and here there are a lot of sprites. But there's also not a rotatable camera basically anywhere except for battle in this game as a way to cut down on a shitload of polygons. And they managed to make that seem like an improvement because they now are taking pages out of like the Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9 playbook, where they're like, okay, we have to pre-render these backgrounds, so we're going to have cool camera angles, and so they're for all intents and purposes pre-rendered, even though they're slightly 3D. So they have bespoke camera movements as you're moving through it, and it's interestingly framed and shot to make it feel like the graphics are better, even though as you look through it, it's worse. So it's like Dragon Quest 8 on the PS2, Dragon Quest 9 on the DS is like, oh, because the next main game went to the handheld, it takes a huge dive in quality. And this one feels like it's better than the others because all of the places where they saved performance, they did it very, very smart. And it's really good. This game is very, very pretty. Oh, I remember the thingy. It was a graphics thingy. This is supposed to be the most high-class resort in the entire world, and it has the tackiest fucking light of their logo bouncing around on the floor in the main thoroughfare of their hotel resort, and I loved it so much.
Yes, it was funny. But yes, the authored camera angles are fantastic in this game. I love when you're running down a road and you like cross a bridge and the camera moves on its own to show you a cool angle of it. It's so great. And yeah, the environments are a lot easier to navigate and much more manageable than they were in Sky, because we were saying the third dimension, Trails in the Sky, is a 3-dimensional game, of course. But yeah, the huge environments where you have to rotate the camera to see everything was just a bit much to deal with.
And they can do a lot of cool stuff because things are hidden, like hidden chests. So if you don't have I can see chests on my mini map, materia, you might not see it, but it's like, oh, this house looks like it butts up against this cliff, but there's a little room back there, and there's a chest there. If you could just rotate your camera constantly, you would just rotate your camera to see if there's anything behind the house. And so it's really good. It's technically worse than the previous game, but they put their whole pussy in it, and it's fantastic.
They put their whole PS penis in it.
They put their whole PS penis in this game.
I don't like that I said that.
And I've been Matt Jorgensen.
Also, the new art style is good. It's both not the original art style from Sky, and it's not the Evolution art style that I saw on the Vita for Sky. It is close to Evolution, but different, and I like it a lot. I like the big chonky brushstroke outlines of everybody. I was admiring Estelle's new portraits this week. They're good.
It is a little weird to me seeing, after 3 games of seeing Estelle and Joshua drawn one way, seeing them drawn a different way. But part of me is also just like, they're a little older now. You get a new art style when you grow up.
Yeah.
Also, to remind myself what the old art style looked like, I Googled Trails in the Sky portraits, and the first image is a comparison of the original Sky Evolution and Zero Azure styles, but the second one, the first image that is just straight up a portrait, is this. which is a really good choice.
My favorite original art style is Style Portrait. So good. Yeah, I like this game. I like this game series.
I like Falcom.
Me too.
I need to play more East games.
Me too.
I can say that East's newest and second newest are quite good.
So I've heard.
Yeah, I unfortunately have been afflicted with the Bernard disease. And I'm like, well, I can't play Monstrum Nox, even though digital MLS is like every East game builds off of itself, but every East game, the point is it all shows up in a new place and has new adventures, so you can play them in any order. However, I'm like, I need to play Origins, so then I can play Calcetta, so then I can skip 5 because there's not a canon version of 5 yet, and then go back and play 6, and then play 7, and then play 8, and then play 9.
The thing is, they're all probably great, so I want to play all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I've only played 1 and 2 in Origins, or Origin, not Origins.
Yeah.
It's a singular origin.
Yeah.
And it's real good.
Yeah. The Origin engine, which Origin 3 and 6 are in that engine, is real good and real fun. It's like a busier Zelda style of a game. It feels like Zelda going around doing stuff, but you then do a lot of more fightings.
A lot more fighting.
Yeah.
East Origin is intense.
We should, after we get caught up, because surely we'll get caught up with these giant games that release yearly. We only have 5 more games in English, and then Reverie is coming out, and then there's 2 games after that, and probably another one coming out this year. That'll only take us forever. But once we get caught up, we should go back and fill in the blanks with East for this podcast.
God, I'm looking at a list of Neon Falcom games, and you weren't kidding. Trails in the Sky 1, 2004. Trails in the Sky 2, 2006. Trails in the Sky the Third, 2007.
It's basically yearly.
Trails from Zero, 2010. Trails to Azure, 2011. The Legend of Natia, Boundless Trails, 2012. Cold Steel, 2013. Cold Steel 2, 2014. Then there's a bit of a break. Cold Steel 3, 2017. Cold Steel 4, 2018. Trails into Reverie, 2020. Kuro no Kiseki, 2021. Kuro no Kiseki 2, 2022. And these aren't the only games they make.
No.
There's a bunch of East games in there, too.
Yeah. What
and
I think
Tokyo
is,
Xanadu.
So I have many times bemoaned why don't JRPGs make Majora's Masks, where they take their engine and they just make a new game, the way that Crash Bandicoot 1, 2, and 3 came out like a month after each other back in the day. Like, just do that. You spend all this time building an engine, just make more, keep going. And Falcom has been doing that so that they can make these giant games. So the first 5 Trails games are all in the same engine, and then the next 4 are in the same engine, and then Reverie and Kuro no Kiseki are like an evolution of that engine. They're like a 0.5. So it's like they really have made 3 games, but they've made content every year in those 3 engines, which is fantastic. Anywho, we should be done talking about this section of the game. Yeah, we unfortunately will not make it in time for release. The new game releases in 2 weeks exactly, and we have more than 2 chapters left, but we are hoping, knock on wood, for real this time, to do it weekly. So we will be charging through this game and starting on the new one shortly after. So next week we will be playing the intermission as well as chapter 4, and then the week after will be chapter 5, and the week after the finale, and the week after that Trails to Azure prologue. So I think that's all she wrote. This series is a timed exclusive for our Ko-Fi supporters. So if you're hearing this on the podcast feed, head on over to www.rpgbook.club, where there will be a few extra episodes waiting on you when you donate. This particular time, only the exclusive episodes will be waiting on you because it's accidentally been a month. But we also have membership tiers now. So if you donate $1 more a month, you are our Gadabout tier, where you get access to these episodes a month early, as well as can donate on. You can vote on the polls. Right now, we have one up for Bernard's Autobiographies, either between Skies of Arcadia and Paper Mario. Skies of Arcadia has swept. So we are not playing Paper Mario. Bernard had the idea that I should make Paper Mario fans mad so that they vote out of spite. So Paper Mario is losing because it's a trash game, and Color Splash is the best game to ever come out in the Paper Mario series. Go prove me wrong by voting on our poll.
I mean, your actual opinion is that Sticker Star owns. So you don't need to lie.
I do think that Sticker Star owns. I do not think it is the best game in the series. I think it is cool that someone made a RPG that is bite-sized levels, like you can get in a platformer. A pick up and play RPG is unheard of, and they managed to do it, and I think that's really cool. But I do not think it's better than the 2, now 3 traditional RPG stories. Anywho, if you update your donation to $5, that's the Warrior tier, where we shout out your name every episode, kind of like this. Shout outs to Floris, Kaldron, Freddie Rodriguez, Bernie L. Taylor, A. Ron 524, Anthony Lerma, Vimk, Jfro Prime, and Doho. And then if you update your donation to $20 or more a month, you also get get a one-sentence plug of your choosing. Currently, we have 2 luminaries. Our first one is Eliza Tantivy, who wants to shout out nanoreno.org. So nanoreno.org, which is starts today when you'll hear this, assuming I remember to put it up tomorrow, and a month ago for those of you hearing it in the podcast feed. But it's a visual novel game jam where you make a visual novel over the month of March. Our other luminary, Carr, is a dentist, so his shout out is not for a game jam, but for your own mouth. He wants you to brush your teeth twice a day, most importantly, the time right before you go to bed. For Book Club no Kiseki, I've been Sam Allman.
I'm David Bernard Hauk.
I'm Matt Jorgensen, who's still sorry.
Adios, amigos.